Hey everybody, welcome back to Soul Stories with Kate Ingersoll Mazeris. And today we are going to celebrate Leo season. So if you were born between July 22nd and August 22nd, this is your time to shine. Remember that these dates are approximate. It depends on the year and the time you were born. These are just the cusp dates of this season. So you'll need to look at your chart to see specifically if you were born around these times. If you are a Gemini or a Leo, and then on the other end of that would be Leo or Virgo. In any case, I absolutely love Leo season. It is my favorite time of the summer. I am not a summer gal like I used to be when I was a child, but once Leo season comes in the third week of July, all the way through the end of the season, I absolutely love what summertime does. So we're going to talk about that today. Leo's main purpose is to seek itself through what it creates. And remember, we started the zodiacal year in Aries, who just seeks itself, identity and the persona. And then in Taurus, the energy was I seek myself through what I have, through the tangible. Then in Gemini, I seek myself through what I think. And then last month, when we talked about Cancer, it was I seek myself through what I feel. When we can combine all of those things to know who you are, what you have, how you communicate, and how you feel, you can create authentically in this Leo energy. And of course, Leo is symbolized by the lion. I love Leo energy so much. I actually named one of my cats Leo so that I would be saying this word every single day to remind me to be authentic. Let's take a look over here at the left-hand side. The glyph looks like, I think this looks like a lion's mane when I was learning astrology. Gosh, more than 30 years ago. That's how I could remember the symbol of Leo because it looks like a lion's mane, but it also represents some other things. So let's dive right in and see what we can learn about this Leo archetype. Leo, of course, is the lion. This is a fixed fire sign. Fixed meaning it comes right in the center of a season. So Leo is in the heart of summer. Fire signs are always masculine, and this sign is ruled by the sun, and it is the only sign of the zodiac that is ruled by the sun. If you can remember last month's video, Cancer is the only sign ruled by the moon, and now we have this beautiful sign that's ruled by the only thing in our solar system that generates its own light. That is very symbolic for the meaning behind Leo. The glyph or the symbol for Leo represents the heart's chamber because Leo is the heart of us, the heart of a lion. It's the vortex to which all energy flows, like the center of our solar system is controlled by that energy of the sun. It also represents a lion's tail as well as a lion's mane. And of course, Leo takes place right in the heart of summer. And by the time Leo starts, I can tell that the days are getting shorter. The sun is still dominant, but every single day during the season of Leo, the sun is diminishing. So Leo energy knows I got to shine while I can because that sun, that sunlight is decreasing during this season. So conversely, Leos, people who have a Leo sun, a Leo moon, a rising sign in Leo, or even a Mercury in Leo, may have had a childhood in which they were not allowed to shine. And what does that look like? It can look like a child that has excessive, in a good way, excessive creative abilities, theatrical, musical, uh, brilliant writers, brilliant artists, brilliant thinkers who were told to tone it down. Be quiet, calm down. Don't be so boisterous. Don't be so you. In other words, the diminishment comes into play when a child is being authentic and they're not allowed to be that. Now, I'm all for having good boundaries around a child's behavior. I certainly do not believe in allowing kids to just be a free for all in life. They need to have good boundaries around it. That behavior is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about expression of self. So I had a child in my classroom, I can remember this years ago, and he was such a vibrant, brilliant young man. I love to have him be the calendar leader for the week because he was so shiny and bright, and he would use different newscaster voices when he would do the news of the day or the weather of the day or whatever. And he would dress uniquely. He would bring unique things to school for show and tell. And I always encouraged him to be that authentic person. He and I are friends to this day. He's in his mid 30s, and I absolutely love him. But his journey was one of he couldn't be authentic a lot. And so he had to come into life in a more authentic way. He is not a Leo, but he has some Leo significance in his chart. And so his journey was to shine in certain areas. So I always wanted to encourage him to be shiny, to be bright. Leo energy seeks to feel its aliveness through creation and accomplishment, and unique accomplishment, not just accomplishing things that we all need to do to get along in life, pay our bills or finish school or whatever. They need to have authentic accomplishment in something that is unique to them. I have a Mars in Leo, and so there's a great placement for Mars because it's a shiny, the sun, the sun ruling my planet of Mars is fabulous, but it makes me want to be creative in my own way. I have a difficult time working in systems, not because I'm not a rule follower. I am a rule follower, but I don't like being squashed and not being able to. What I said when I quit teaching was I want to use more crayons in my box. I don't want to be limited to just this these talents that I have. I want to use more. And so I am in a very creative place now in how I put my energy out in the world that is authentic to me. It doesn't have to be better than anyone else. It just has to be mine. It has to be something that is true for me. And that's another part of the Leo energy is it needs to learn how to be self-empowered because the sun is the only element in our solar system that generates its own light. So you look at the Leo energy in your chart, whatever house it's in, and that is where you have to generate your own sense of being. So mine is in the second house, Leo, Mars and Leo in the second house, which is my stuff, myself, my body, my home, the things I own. I have worked for myself or on my own more than I have worked with others. And when I've tried to dip my toes back in to working in a traditional setting, it doesn't work for me. I can do it, and I'm a really hard worker. Mars and Leo are hard workers, but we're not allowed to shine authentically. We have to go by the status quo, and it doesn't always feel good. So I just would take myself out of those situations. Because if Leo energy is not allowed to shine, it becomes narcissistic and pulls energy from others. So if you know someone who acts like a vampire or a black hole, they suck the energy out of the room. You know that is that Leo energy not allowed to shine authentically. I'm reminded of when I worked in the world as an office manager for a couple of places. It was so debilitating for me because I was limited because the people that I worked for did not understand what I was trying to do with authenticity and with integrity. Their vision was different than mine. So I had to follow their rules and I wasn't compensated properly and it bothered me, but I felt stuck. I felt like I had to do it. But I would come home and I would cry, and my poor husband would have to listen to me go on and on and on and on about this situation. And finally, I was able to release myself from it because it was doing more harm to me and others. I didn't want to suck the energy out of the room by complaining because I wasn't using my Leo energy properly. And God bless the people I worked for. They helped me learn it. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about understanding astrology as a language for the soul is that I was meant to be in those situations. And whether they were conscious of it or not, I was actively learning how to put my Leo energy into the world properly instead of being miserable. And I'm still on the tail end of that lesson. I can talk about that in other areas of this channel. But Leo energy in its heart wants to shine authentically. So they can be the benevolent king or queen, the beautiful performer. Patrick Swayze was a Leo. And there's a lot of times I'll watch someone perform or act in a movie or whatever, and I'll think, oh, they're a Leo. I know they're a Leo. And I look it up and they sure are, because they're so shiny and vibrant. Like the image of, for those in the Gen X generation who love Dirty Dancing, that scene at the end. I know Patrick Swayze hated the line, nobody puts baby in a corner, but it really set the stage for, I'm going to let that girl shine because I'm going to shine. Let me show you how she can shine. And that's such a Leo thing, to encourage her to shine. They can be a protector, like the lion protects the tribe. And of course, they're a wonderful creator. But they can also be the narcissist, because if they are not allowed to shine, they're going to think they're the center of the universe to get that energy, because it's the shadow of authenticity is narcissism. If you're not allowed to know who you are authentically, you're going to ask everybody else to give you energy so that you can pump yourself up. But that's a false identity. See, that's like a self-defeating thing. The shadow of Leo can also be the eternal child, because the fear of the shadow of Leo is the time is moving on. The sun is diminishing. I got to hurry up and get what's mine. Instead of trusting the cycles of time and understanding that benevolence, the benevolent power of shining authentically comes over time, they want to hurry up and get it now or stay the child so they don't have to grow up. But of course, we all know that that doesn't work well as a person is evolving into adulthood, but still acting like a child. It can be very debilitating. So let's look at the soul journey of Leo. And I just absolutely love this. It says to learn how to regenerate their own divine light so they can in turn encourage others to do the same. I love this glyph. It says the more you help people find their light, the brighter you both will shine. And I have a real good friend of mine is a Leo, and she is so authentic in so many ways. And just by being around her, she's beautiful, she's articulate, she's really good in her field, and she's authentic. So I never feel like I have to be like her, because she doesn't ask me to validate her. She just allows me to be myself and shine in my own way. And that's the healthiest Leo energy that we can embody. Leos are fixed fire, so I call them the hearth heart people. So it's like the three fire signs are Aries, Leo, Sag. And I think of like the image that I use when I teach this in workshops is that Aries, think about your furnace. So when the furnace ignites, that is Aries. And then the burner starts moving when the gas comes in, and that burner starts, and you can see the flames in that burner. That's Leo. And then Sagittarius is the air that comes in that moves that heat, moves that fire around. Well, Leo energy is what we gather around: a fireplace, a bonfire, a kitchen, because like the kitchen is the heart of the home. And so Leos in their beautiful place want you to gather around them and just enjoy. So they can be generous, loving, warm-hearted, and enthusiastic. But if it's not channeled properly, and again, if Leo energy is not allowed to be authentic, it can be haughty, showy, bossy, overdramatic, and indulgent. In other words, they seek to get what they want, and if you get what you want, fine, but they're not invested in that. So, like Cancer energy was the feminine energy around tribe and family, Leo is the masculine energy around tribe and family. Leo fathers can be so much fun. My husband had a moon in Leo, and I really like men who have moon in Leo. I know a lot of men in my life who have a moon in Leo. They are funny, and their humor's channeled a lot through their Mercury and their sun sign. But a good friend of mine's son is an Aquarius, Cancer rising with a Leo moon, and he's very droll. He can be very sassy, and I love his sense of humor. So we're going to talk about the wicked king and queen versus the benevolent king and queen. So the wicked king or queen, obviously we know what that is through fairy tales. through even like leaders in our world can be the I'm the king and I'm going to do what I want. You can't tell me what to do. And you're here to serve me. But the benevolent queen is I am here to be of service to you. Most recently, I saw a speech that King Charles gave about the environment and how we are all stewards of this earth. That's a benevolent king saying, wake up to the reality that we are all here on this precious planet. That's the masculine energy around the human tribe. So that's an example of being a benevolent king. So Leos have a deeper need to shine more authentically in this world. So you look at the Leo house in your chart. If you don't have any planets in Leo, look at where Leo rules your chart. That's the area of your life where you have a deeper need to shine. It is absolutely not wrong to shine. We are meant to shine. We are meant to be brilliant and beautiful and open-hearted. And when we're not allowed to be that, that's where problems arise. I'm going to put a link in the description below to a beautiful poem by Marianne Williamson, where she talks about our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are brilliant beyond measure. And this poem closes with, as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give permission for others to do the same. And that is beautiful, Leo. So this is the last Soul Stories video in this series. We've covered all 12 of them from Virgo all the way around the wheel to Leo. I didn't start in Aries, which would have been the beginning, but these started last fall. So you can find a playlist on my Soul Stories YouTube channel for all 12 signs. I'm going to start working on videos for the planets next. And I'm also teaching workshops at Owens Community College this spring, summer, and fall. I'll put a link to those workshops in the description below, as well as a link to my website where you can reach out to me to schedule a natal reading. So happy birthday, Leos. Shine bright this month, and I'll see you at our next video. Take care.